Hey cats, it's your flamboyant footwear friend, EDDBUD here. Some super shoe comparisons for you today on some models I've reviewed over the past few weeks. The wide and very cushioned ALPHAFLY 3 from Nike, the beast itself, the PUMA FAST-R NITRO ELITE 2, the new shoe on the block, the SAUCONY ENDORPHIN PRO 4, and today's wildcard, the HOKA CIELO X1. 4 shoes, lots of stats, let's get to it. Thanks for joining me on today's video, people. It's always appreciated. Do hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up like, it really helps out. Dankeschön. Just some quick disclosures here. Puma and Saucony have sent me over the shoes in today's video. The others I forked out some serious earth credits for, certainly that ALPHAFLY 3. Ouch. No soul will be vetting my views though before my valued viewers get to see them. Nobody's paying me to make this video basically. All of the shoes in today's video are apparently allowed in terms of elite running, although for us mere mortals doesn't really matter that much. Comparing the models today up against the ALPHAFLY 3, it's the newest one in for testing. Kicking us off really, this is the widest shoe out of all 4 in terms of that forefoot area, but also in the heel as well. It's a whopping 2 centimeters wider in the heel than the FAST-R NITRO ELITE 2 from Puma, almost a centimeter wider as well in the forefoot. So a bit of difference up there in the forefoot, but in the heel, yeah, there's a huge amount more surface area here. The HOKA shoe is the heaviest by far in today's video. This one coming in at 300 grams in my UK size 11 or US size 12. Though this HOKA shoe is also measuring the highest in the heel as well. I've used the same process in terms of coming up with these measurements and they always seem pretty spot on. I've measured it time and time again, but the HOKA keeps coming up the tallest in the heel. All of the midsole foams in today's shoes use a PUMA based material. They've all got an average softness of about 22 to 24 on the Shore Age Barometer scale. I think the average on all shoes I've reviewed is about 28, so it just goes to show how soft some of these super shoes are. So despite the wider dimensions here in the ALPHAFLY 3 against the HOKA, it's a good 30 grams lighter than this model. You can feel it on foot. A number of viewers have actually suggested that this one rides really well, but on the latter miles of a longer run you can start to feel the difference. Certainly a little bit less rubber here in the ALPHAFLY 3, it's a little bit less present on foot, just a bit more of a light and airy feel to it. The HOKA shoe feels a little bit more like that Adidas Prime X Strung in terms of the material used. Construction is similar and that material is certainly a bit thicker to the touch. The ALPHAFLY 3 though, due to the very light upper, feels a little bit bottom heavy this time round. The weight distribution in this one is all down in the midsole and outsole, whereas here it's a bit more evenly distributed. I think the ALPHAFLY 3 probably a slightly better training option if you want to throw in some faster paced sections in your longer runs. The CIELO X1 from HOKA, a bit more of a shoe that you want to sort of lock into a pace and stay with it. With that very aggressive rocker here in the HOKA shoe, I don't think it's probably one I'd look to use for repeats or intervals. Maybe okay for some sustained blocks of pace at a faster effort. Otherwise, I think I actually prefer the HOKA between the 2 shoes. Just a little bit more consistent, a little bit less generous as well. Though I think the ALPHAFLY 3 upper is a big improvement on the ALPHAFLY 2 and also the VAPORFLY 3 as well. The upper on that was just really odd, no real shape to it whatsoever. I do prefer the fit this time in the ALPHAFLY 3 over the ALPHAFLY 2. Ride is improved, though I would suggest that the HOKA is a bit more of a fun and enjoyable sort of experience underfoot. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's a bit more of a traditional ride. The ALPHAFLY 3 does take a lot of getting used to, and I think if you want to slip into a shoe and just utilise it on a more daily basis, then the HOKA is better. Grip wise though, I think I do prefer the ALPHAFLY 3 over the HOKA CIELO X1. Better on corners, but I think for durability the HOKA will probably come up trumps. Mind you, the actual thickness of the rubber in the HOKA is quite substantial. Price wise, these are both insane. £285 for the Nike ALPHAFLY 3 and $250 over here for the HOKA. I think if I had to have one purely on overall enjoyment, I think I'd probably pick the CIELO X1. I can see them being a little bit more useful in terms of your shoe rotation than the ALPHAFLY 3. I think this one will last a whole bunch of miles compared to the Volvo estate. What we got next? It's the Puma FAST-R NITRO ELITE 2. So again, from super high stack here to the very long dragster. I think the Puma is quite the outlier here with the sort of extra long carbon plate here that protrudes out the front of the shoe. I mean, have you ever seen anything like it? A lot of viewers have been asking me about this and whether you'd sort of catch it on the road or on sort of debris, and I've not really had that problem at all. There is way less room in the Puma here in terms of the toe box. It's really like a race fit. There's no excess materials here whatsoever. Really no messing about as well with that very minimal heel. It's much, much narrower than the ALPHAFLY 3. Weights are very similar between the two shoes, and we have a sort of very bottom heavy feel in both of them. I'd suggest the Puma is considerably softer here in the forefoot. You haven't got the very aggressive yet responsive AirPods that you do in the ALPHAFLY. I think this is a shoe that really does benefit you if you can really drive into those pods at the front. You need to sort of push them into the ground, and it does give a shoe a very responsive, exciting feel. I think you feel the plate a little bit more, in fact, in the FAST-R NITRO ELITE 2. Kind of stabilizes things and allows you to sort of propel yourself forward on toe off. Don't quite get that feel in the ALPHAFLY 3. I think that's down to the fact that they've kind of moved the plate. It's a very different sort of profile to it. I have to say the Puma is going to hold up better over time. I've got about 75 miles into these and they're still looking fantastic. I've got very little wear at all here. There's a tiny bit of rubber wear here back in the heel. Aside from that, they look fantastic. I think people will find this one a bit more nimble over those 5 to 10k efforts. Certainly a good race shoe for me. I've used it on a hilly half marathon with some really good results. I may well try the ALPHAFLY 3 on the Yeovil half marathon towards the end of March. It's only about a month away, so I really need to get those extra long runs in. We'll see what these guys feel like. Need to do a more varied session really with some sustained half marathon pace and really get a good feel for this shoe, see if it's up to it. If you're after heel stability, I think there's only one winner here. There's loads more of it here. The Puma is certainly one for those sort of all-out sessions and racing, your premium training sessions really. It's very aggressive and does get the cadence going, though the heart rate lowering effects of the ALPHAFLY 3 are there for all to be seen. It's kind of like comparing a mammoth ship like the QE2 like a speedboat really, if you ask me. I think it's a bit down to upper preference. Some people will prefer the very thin and slightly more nimble feeling Puma up against the sort of more maximal cushion here of the ALPHAFLY 3. Weight though practically the same, and we're finding that more and more with some super shoes, both aiming for the same thing but very different implementations. The last comparison of the day is between the ALPHAFLY 3 and the SAUCONY ENDORPHIN Pro 4. Just getting this one back in hand and on foot, the profile is beautiful. I think it's one of the most attractive looking super shoes out there. This one certainly does feel very light and nimble. On foot too, certainly compared to the CIELO X1. I think it's a good 50 grams lighter than that shoe. I think this is about 20 grams lighter than the ALPHAFLY 3. And now, of course, a newly improved outsole as well, which really does elevate this one to the top spot. I think it's a little bit down to that super responsive combo of foams that we've got now in the ENDORPHIN Pro 4. That foam belly has just got a little bit more to it now. It's a bit more nuanced. We've still got a bit of exposed midsole here in the ENDORPHIN Pro 4, but outsole wise I think it's right up there now. That was a bit of a problem in the Pro 2 and 3. It's now easily up there with the best. Certainly a propulsive shoe, a softer, more perhaps traditional carbon plated ride. I think if you like the Vaporfly 4%, you're going to really like this one. Not quite so squashy as the Pro 3 because we've got that extra layer of foam just under the foot. The ALPHAFLY is a bonkers sort of foam clog really when you compare it to this. I think this one's a little bit more forgiving, I suppose, in the forefoot. I think the lighter runners out there will really appreciate that quite big weight difference as well. I think if you prefer your lockdown to be a little bit more standard in terms of your race shoe, then I think it's an easy choice really to go for the SAUCONY ENDORPHIN Pro 4 over the something like the ALPHAFLY. Over 26.2 miles, I think people want slightly different things in their shoes. I think if you are going for pace and speed, you're trying to really eke out every few seconds you can, then I think the ENDORPHIN Pro 4 is a better bet. I think this one's a little bit more versatile now with the extra foam layer. You can use it across all of these sort of key, very popular race distances. Certainly with the ALPHAFLY 3 being more a niche shoe now for the half or full marathon. I mean, if it's down to versatility in terms of where you're going to put your money, then I think it's very clear which way you should go. That's way cheaper too. 230 quid here in the UK for the Endorphin Pro 4, 285 for the ALPHAFLY, and you can't even buy it either. It's just not available. I know there's a new colorway coming out. They'll probably sell out in seconds. Why Nike are doing that, I don't know. I think it's better to make your shoe available and easy to buy, and then people will probably pick it up. If you've got to pick one, I think you go for the versatile option each time. So, a bit of a tour de force of the super shoes that I've tested out so far in 2024. There's so many and it's only February. What are your favourites right now? Which pairs are on your radar? Let me know down in the comments. Musical interlude time. Great band for you to check out if you've not heard of them. Cheek Face. They've had a few albums out now. They've got a very unique style, some quite staccato, trebly guitars, awesome, really dry drums, really cool backing vocals, and this bizarre sort of vocal delivery. One of the most distinctive sounding bands that I've heard in a very long time. Their current album's called It's Sorted. I particularly like I'm Continuing to Do My Thing. Reminds me a little bit on the channel of when people say I should, you know, make my videos like this person or like that person. Well, no, I'm going to continue to do my thing. Otherwise, it's not my thing, it's someone else's, and it's just the same. And I don't really want to do that. I want to do my thing. I've seen lots of live performances of this band as well. They're always really good. They always rock it. They look like they're having a great time as well. There's too many bands you see, and it just looks like a bit of a chore, not with Cheek Face. Go and check out their latest album. It's called It's Sorted. Thanks for tuning in, people. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Help the channel to continue to grow by hitting that subscribe button and also giving this video a thumbs up like. Drop us a super thanks too to help support the channel on a more ad hoc basis. My name's Ed Bud and I'll be seeing you